When I was a young, oblivious child, there were many game franchises that I had always heard things about, but simply missed out on. One of the most notable ones being the Sly Cooper franchise. So many years later, after acquiring a PlayStation 3, one of the first games I purchased for it was a download code for the Sly Cooper HD collection, a collection of the original trilogy of games initially released on the PlayStation 2. Here the games are upscaled to widescreen and progressive scan at 720p, making this the definitive way to play the games for the first time. So after downloading the first game, it was time to finally check it out after all these years. So how is Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus? Let's find out. The story revolves around Sly Cooper as he ventures off to different areas searching for the pages of his ancestors' book of secrets known as the Thievius Raccoonus. You see, when Sly was just a little kid, he had to sit helpless and watch a group of villains known as the Fiendish Five tear out pieces of the family book and kill his parents. Yeah, it's just a happy, fun game for the kiddies. Afterwards, he was sent off to an orphanage where he became best buddies with Bentley the Turtle, the know-it-all computer nerd, and Murray the Hippo, the guy who tries to be really cool but is basically a coward. Together, these three amigos agreed to track down the Fiendish Five and get back all the pages to the Thievius Raccoonus, all while being pursued by Inspector Carmelita Fox, who will stop at nothing to put Sly and his band of misfits behind bars. It's a fun story, and the writing definitely gives it the feeling of a Saturday morning cartoon. I especially love some of the banter between Sly and Bentley.
You have to get close.
Then hit the circle button to grab it. Yeah. Relax, Bentley. I live for this stuff.
Yeah, and that's what worries me.
Visually, the game is very pleasing to the eyes. The cel-shaded graphics really help give it a Saturday morning feel, as I mentioned earlier. However, there were some parts of the game where I felt some of the environments were too dark to see clearly, though after adjusting some of the brightness and color settings on my TV, it wasn't as big of an issue, but still a little bothersome at points. Sometimes the animation can seem a bit strange, but after my last review, I'm definitely not really bothered by some of the weird animation quirks seen here, but it's something that you'll still notice. The sound design in this game is also really good for the most part. I love the bass sounds that play while you're sneaking around, and how the background music gets fast-paced when you step into an enemy's line of vision. And for some reason, I find that the sound effect that plays when you pick up coins is one of the most satisfying sounds ever. As far as the music goes, it's nothing that will stay in your mind, but for what it is, it does fit the environments very well. But you probably won't find yourself looking up any track in particular after playing the game. The game plays like your typical 3D platformer with some optional collectibles and a variety of power-ups. So there's not much to discuss in that department. The controls are really tight and responsive, which is exactly what is to be expected of a solid platformer. The stage progression is very linear, not unlike games such as Crash Bandicoot or Rayman 2. There are also some stages that stray away from the platforming and give some other characters a chance to shine. Some of them are pretty fun, and others are just kind of annoying. Particularly these stages where you have to shoot all the enemies surrounding Murray, I find are a bit of a nuisance, as there is little room for error and you have to memorize all of the spots enemies will appear. On the flip side though, I do enjoy these classic arcade-style twin-stick shooter stages and wish there were more of them in the game. Thankfully though, a large majority of the game is straight up platforming, with a different gameplay style only popping up every now and then, unlike other games that I've played. With a few minor exceptions, you can breeze through this game very easily, unintentionally collecting every item. I actually unlocked every trophy in this game without even trying to. If that doesn't show how easy this game is, then I don't know what will. With all of this said, the final boss can actually be a bit of a challenge at first, but that's only because the final boss introduces a new gameplay style that you may have to get used to, but afterwards it's not a terribly difficult fight. I do find it a little odd that they would just introduce this at the last second, and I would have preferred to go without it, but it is what it is. If you've never actually played Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, I wouldn't necessarily recommend you drop everything to go give it a shot, but if you're looking for a fun and not too difficult game that you can just relax and play, then I would say Sly is a perfect candidate for that. As of this review, I haven't played any other game in the series, so I can't really say how it stacks up against its sequels, but on its own merits, it's a very solid and enjoyable game, and you don't have to break the bank to get a copy of it whether you want the PS2 original or the upscaled PS3 version. It's a very accessible game. Until next time guys, this has been Fumecom, and I will see you at the same time, same place, different game.
landing. It's Matthew De La Coupe's perpetual slow motion technique. With this move, you can slow down time whenever you want.